Lightslinger is a Bejeweled game mixed somehow with an adventure RPG that manages to make an actually quite fun game. In Lightslinger, you play what looks like a pretty standard Bejeweled, except you appear to have a myriad of heroes along the top that correspond to your ball collars. Also, there's monsters that keep appearing. Weird. After a few rounds of normal Bejeweled play, you might realise this isn't actually a basic game of Bejeweled, but in fact an in-depth adventure RPG. Each level of the progressively more difficult story, you fight a different variety of monsters, culminating in the final boss. You deal damage and interact with the monsters through up to 5 heroes, each of which is prescribed a specific colour that matches that of the available balls in the Bejeweled game below. When you manage to connect a ball to one of similar colouring, any hero of that colour will attack and deal damage. However, they're not limited specifically to dealing damage. Each colour also has a specific effect that is applied. Red appears to be dealing extra damage, yellow to gain some damage reflection, green to add a shield, and blue to actually heal you. This means that whatever colour is available to you is predetermined by the game. You are able to create different effects based on what colours you manage to connect. Alongside that, different characters have special effects depending on if you hit up to 5 bubbles at once. For example, red characters are able to damage all enemies at the same time. This means that it is always to your benefit to hit as many bubbles as possible to affect the battlefield as much as possible. Considering it's just a pretty basic Bejeweled game at the bottom, it is surprising how much you can feel motivated to do well, considering the difficulty of the fights on the top of the screen. Even just from the beginning, the pacing feels difficult and challenging, allowing you to understandably need to prepare and pace yourself well, not to die horribly to a dragon. The loot system for Lightslinger does feel somewhat confusing, however, as each enemy has a chance to drop chests that contain loot that you don't really understand or seemingly need. In between levels, you can level up your characters to improve their abilities, but the actual loot seems inconsequential. Likely it has some grander purpose, but upon receipt of the item, you have no idea of what it is, leaving you confused and a little annoyed. But Lightslinger combines an elemental Bejeweled-style puzzle game with an adventure RPG system that captivates you sufficiently so as to keep you going. There is a strong impetus to do well, as well as a myriad of additional effects and party combinations you can include to alter the playing field. Lightslinger manages to turn a simplistic concept and add in other elements to make it something pretty special. Not amazing, mind you, but special enough to play a decent amount of.